Hello, Bill Molyneux here with Bill's History and Wargame World, and we are at Yorktown, Virginia at the Yorktown Visitor Center. I have Josh with me, and I don't know, Goober the Traveling Bear may show up in a video, we're not sure. But it's 7:30 in the morning. The Visitor Center doesn't open till 9. Our plan is to hit a few spots here at the Visitor Center area of the battlefield. And then we're going to the Museum of the American Revolution. We are now looking at the British entrenchments, which are quite overgrown. There was a time, I remember, all this would have been weed whacked down so you'd actually see the emplacements. But I guess probably between COVID and financial cuts on employees to keep the weeds down, that probably made an impact. I'm just happy we have national parks to visit. You can't look, you gotta look at the glass always half full and not half empty.
Maybe it's just looking at the glasses having water in it.
The glasses having water in it. Josh had a great comment. So in this field they used to have a lot of artillery pieces, but they are not here today. So we are going to, I think, cruise over to the French gun position. This is where the British would be, and we can't get over these entrenchments to look at the American and French lines. So we're going to get in the car and drive over to them, do a little videos there. There's a cannon out front. We'll hit that one. I don't know if what the Traveling Bear is up to. We're going to pause here, hit the front door. Well, let's check out the artillery piece that's here. This is a British piece. Oh my goodness, it's the Traveling Bear, and he's wearing a Dinosaur Land hoodie. Laugh, life is short. I normally don't have the bear in the videos, but just a little different fun for this trip. And Josh, good morning to you, Josh.
Good morning.
And so this is a field piece for the American Revolution. I've done a lot of artillery videos. One of the things you'll notice different on a Revolutionary War artillery carriage is the two trails. American Civil War, it's usually only one trail for the carriage and not a split carriage trail. And then we have our boxes for both, you'd have your hammer and your spikes to spike the gun if needed. And also they would have some ammunition. Well, we're going to go off to redoubt number 9, 10, and the French gun emplacements, and then off to the Museum of the American Revolution. Pretty intricate, detailed work on this barrel. And of course, it's a brass due to the fact that it's turned green. All right, we're gonna shut this down and get another video further up the road. Hello, Bill here with Josh, and we're continuing our Yorktown video. Here we are at the 2nd Allied Siege Line. It says please do not climb on the earthworks, so we'll be, of course, respectful of that. We can we can walk the paths, however, and we're following Josh as we go down the trail. Let's see if we can see the British lines on the other side. They just recently weed-eated this, so this is nice. All right. Off in the distance are the British lines. So Josh, what do you think? 300 yards, 400 yards?
I'd say, if I had to guesstimate, yeah.
So the entrenchments run, oh gosh, all the way down the other end. Very tranquil here. There's a few people riding bicycles, but traffic is almost non-existent. When you do come to Yorktown, to the battlefield, and the park opens at 6 a.m., but the visitor center doesn't open until 9. I was gonna put out a suggestion: try to hit the battlefield section a little bit prior to the site opening, because there's so few people here and it's quite relaxing, quite tranquil. So we have a dugout, for a powder magazine, and our artillery pieces would be in position here and there to fire upon the British troops in those entrenchments on that side. Well, we are now standing at the first Allied siege line, and also the French Grand Battery is up here. So we're gonna go and try to do a little video of that if possible. So let's see what happens. Well, here we are at the Grand French Battery, and we have a lot of neat guns here. I'm going to spend a few minutes on these rather than just look at the earthworks. You'll see this is on timbers made out of concrete, but they would have been wood. So this mortar and this type of weapon, make sure there's no bee nest in it. This weapon would be loaded, and the trajectory of the shell would go up and over. It's not a straight line weapon. It is a mortar, sort of like throwing a baseball underhanded. The shell itself would have an explosive charge in it. You'd light the fuse on that. And in the movie The Last of the Mohegans, there is a scene where the French artillerymen are actually using a mortar. So let's move on to some other guns. It's really neat to see a mortar like this. There are several at Fort Ligonier, and of course Fort Ticonderoga. As we go along our battery of guns, we have a howitzer on a carriage. Very nice, and you'll notice our carriage is the 2 trails instead of just one. And over here we have, and I'll apologize, I don't know the size of this barrel. It might be an 8-pounder, 9-pounder. Quite impressive how ornate these barrels were made. And of course, it's a superior French cannon because it's French with the fleur-de-lis. Looking out and over the redoubt, you can see our siege lines. We were way out there a ways, and then the British are way out there, about where those vehicles are moving. And these are the entrenchments where all the troops would be in, and there's a lot of poison ivy out there, so that's not good. We're going to go back and hit the artillery pieces. We're going to try to hit Surrender Field next and see if Redoubt 9 and 10 are open yet. And haven't encountered any traveling bears so far, but you never know. One could show up at any time. All right, well, we're going to be leaving the Grand Battery. And Josh, I guess we'll, oh my goodness. The traveling bear is here. We ran into Goober, the traveling bear, and he's checking out the mortar. And I hope there's no beehives in there. So, let's go see if we can find the surrender field. And then Redoubt 9 and 10. Josh is going to grab the traveling bear, laugh, and I hope Jack in Arizona has a sense of humor with the traveling bear. Hey, thank you, and I'll be clipping this with the rest of the videos. Okay, Bill here as we continue with our Yorktown video. This is several videos linked, and we are now at the Moore House. And this is the house that the surrender negotiations were held at.
Falcon and deer.
And we have wildlife all over. We have a falcon and we have deer out here. Josh is mentioning, hey, let's get those deer in the pictures. So, going back to history and away from wildlife, the Moore House has got several of its outbuildings too, and it's quite tranquil here. We're here about 7:30 in the morning, so I have placed another video on my YouTube channel of this from June, but it's there's a lot of people walking around, so it was difficult to get a lot of good shots, but that's about all we're going to do for the Moore House here. We're going to go up to the historical marker, and Josh will read off the history for it. So stay tuned for that. Well, we're going to go read the historical site markers, but we just noticed Goober, the traveling bear, has arrived at the Moore House. Josh and I were just chit-chatting. There was a large falcon, very large falcon, sitting over, where was it sitting, Josh?
We're right on the lid of that box as we walked.
It was sitting on the lid of the box. Josh and I were joking about placing Goober there and see if the falcon would come back and carry him off. And anyhow, the bear was not very happy with the idea of being carried away by a falcon, so he ended up on the Moore House. Hey, we're gonna go read the historical information on this house next. You gotta put up with some of our goofiness. Well, we are here at the historical sign. Josh, take it away.
It says here that the history of the Moore House, it's an 18th century home that has undergone many structural changes and about 50 owners. The house was extensively damaged during the Civil War, both by cannon fire and soldiers stripping wood from the house for campfire use. By the 150th anniversary of the surrender, the house was in a dilapidated state. In 1931, the National Park Service undertook its first restoration of a historic building, the Moore House. 3 years later, the project was complete, and the house once again appeared as it did in 1781.
Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome.
Well,
there's a photo here that has Civil War soldiers standing next to the house, too.
All right, I'm going to see if I can get a close-up of that.
Yeah.
There they are. Okay, well, we're going to try to go and see if Redoubt number 9 and 10 are open yet. And then the French gun batteries. So that's our plan. There's the cemetery over there. Hello, Bill Molyneux here as we continue our walk through Yorktown. We are now at Surrender Field. Very impressive area. And this is the monument that dedicates the surrender of the British forces and the Hessian forces also. These are all the captured artillery pieces from the British Army. It's quite impressive to see the large siege guns that they had for the defense of the earthworks around Yorktown. One of the most impressive things, I think, is the amount that they have and the size and types that were captured. Now you'll notice that they each have a plate cover over their muzzles, and that's to help keep animals, birds, bees from climbing in them and turning them into homes, which can be a nuisance for tourists to come and visit, to have wildlife living inside the guns. So the long tubes are smoothbore artillery pieces. These short tubed guns, they're howitzers, and they're used mainly to lob shells over earthworks or entrenchments. And here we have Surrender Field, and this is where the British Army marched in front of Washington and Rochambeau, laid down their arms,